Once again, good afternoon. This is Mr. Oates. We're going to go ahead and go through a couple more problems so we can keep getting practice during this break. Number 4, James went to the gym 13 out of the 20 days during his break. Which value is equivalent to the fraction of the days James went to the gym? So go ahead and pause, try and solve, and then once you unpause it, I'll go ahead and explain the rest. So the first thing we have to do is we have to know that we have 13 out of 20, and we're going to set that up as a fraction. 13 over 20. Which value is equivalent? Equivalent is going to mean the same. So which value will be the same as 13 over 20? So what we're going to have to do to turn a fraction into a decimal, we're going to have to divide. So the top number on the inside, the bottom number on the outside. So 13 on the inside, 20 on the outside, and we're going to set up our chart. So how many times can 20 go into 1? 0. How many times can 20 go into 13? 0. Now I have a remainder but nothing left to bring down, so I'm going to add a decimal and a 0. The decimal goes up and the 0 is going down. My new number is 130. That can go in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And now I have 10 left over. Once again, I have nothing left to bring down, so I'm going to add another 0. It can go into 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And then we are finished with the division. So if I'm looking at it right now, I have 0.65. So immediately what they're going to do to trick you, they're going to have a bunch of different numbers that look very similar to 0.65. So most students would automatically gravitate towards answer choice B. But this says 0.065 or 65 thousandths, when this is 65 hundredths. So now what we're going to have to do, we know it has nothing to do with 70. We're going to go ahead and turn this into a percent. The way we do that is by moving the decimal place over once, over twice. So it comes out to 65%. Not 6.5%, 65%. Number 5, Mr. Oates got 4 cats during spring break. Polly weighs 9.5 pounds, Molly weighs 9.4 pounds, Sally weighs 9 3/5 pounds, Tammy weighs 9 5/5 pounds. Which list shows these in order from least to greatest? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this as least to greatest. Secondly, I'm going to notice that I have some of these are in fractions. Polly's in a fraction, Sally's in a fraction, but Molly and Tammy are both in decimals. So we're going to do the same thing we did on this previous problem where we turned a fraction into decimal. We're going to turn this fraction into a decimal, and we're going to turn this fraction into a decimal. That way we can compare them. So I'm going to change this 1/2 into a decimal. 2 goes into 1, it can't. So once again, I have a remainder with nothing left to bring down. 2 can go into 10 5 times. So 1/2 as a decimal is going to be 0.5. So instead of 9.5, I actually have 9.5. And I'm going to do the same thing with Sally. Top in, bottom out. 3 divided by 5. 5 can't go into 3. I don't have anything left to bring down, so decimal 0, decimal goes up, 0 goes down. 5 goes into 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And so this 3/5 will turn into 0.6. So we have 9.6. So now all of our numbers are in decimals. We have 9.5 for Polly. We have 9.4 for Molly. We have 9.6 for Sally and 9.55 for Tammy. Now that we've arranged these, line them up by the decimal, we can order them from least to greatest. So looking at the first place value, I can't tell which one is the biggest or the smallest. But right here, now I can tell that 9.4 is going to be the smallest. So Molly should be coming first. So automatically that crosses off A and that crosses off D. So my next smallest, I have 9.5 and 9.5. But I know that these blank spaces can be replaced with zeros. So what's going to be smaller, 9.55 or 9.50? 9.50 will be smaller, so that means Polly should be coming second. So Molly, then Polly. So our answer would be number 6, which I didn't put answer choices on because I wanted to see if we could figure it out. So in any state test that we have, it's good to get questions without the answer choices just to see if we can complete them. So first thing we have to do is know our order of operations. Parentheses, exponent, multiplication and division are on the same level, and addition and subtraction are on the same level. So we're going to look it up here, and first we're going to look for parentheses. And I do have a parentheses right here, but there's nothing for me to do inside of it. So I'm going to go down to the next level, exponent. So this is an exponent right here, and once again, this does not mean 3 times 3. What this means is 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9, and then 9 times 3 is 27. So I'm going to rewrite this entire problem. 27 minus -3 over 2 minus 7. So now I'm going to do my next step. 27 minus -3. Now I don't want us doing subtraction with negative integers. This is how I want us to go ahead and do it. We're going to keep the first number the same. We're going to change our subtraction sign to an addition sign, and we're going to make our second number its opposite. So the opposite of -3 is +3. And we can do the same thing down here. Keep our first number the same, turn our subtraction sign into a positive, and make the second number its opposite. So -7. So now we're going to go ahead and do this. The top 27 plus 3 will give us 30. And now we have to figure out 2 plus -7. There's 2 ways we can do this. A positive plus a negative, we will subtract and keep the bigger sign, or I can draw it out. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 negatives, 1, 2 positives. So what I'm going to be left with is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negatives. So now we have one step left. We have 30 over -5. And once again, if we look back, all these are our fractions, and all fractions are division problems. So we're going to take 30 on the inside, 5 on the outside. 5 goes into 30 6 times. But we do have to remember that this isn't dividing by 5, it's dividing by -5. A positive divided by a negative will make our answer a negative.